Welcome to a special edition of Puck Online, bringing you a quick summary of all the major news and events for the public cloud space. This cast is coming to you on YouTube, Spotify and iTunes. Today I'm broadcasting with Stanley Park in North Vancouver behind me. The weather hasn't been great today, a little bit cold right now. It's been raining, it's been a hot day, it's been quite cold at the moment, so it's been a bit challenging. The reason for this special edition is the massive number of new announcements that were coming out just this last week from Google Next, which was down in San Francisco. I'll start by getting into details about the top announcements that I feel are important, and then I'll start rattling off a long list of the other announcements that are good to bring to your attention. There were over 122 announcements, but if I leave off the partner and customer story announcements, it's more like 90, and then if we leave out G Suite, we're looking at about 80. We don't really have time for 80 in the 10 minutes or so I'll narrow it down to the top 25 or so. So I think the biggest announcement that everybody's been talking about has been Anthos, which is a new name of Google's cloud service platform. Google's managed services for allowing enterprises to run applications in their private data center and in Google's cloud. Google decided to give the service a new name, Anthos, but also expanded support to AWS and Azure, which will be coming soon. This will allow enterprises to use a single platform running on Google's cloud to deploy and manage their applications on any cloud. Enterprises will get a single bill and have a single dashboard to manage their applications. All of this, unsurprisingly, is powered by containers, Kubernetes. At launch, they'll support more than 30 hardware, software, and system integrated partners. Anthos Migrate will allow auto migration from on-premise to other clouds. Anthos Config Management will let you create policies of clusters, which will enforce access control, resource quotas, and namespaces. It's still highly unusual for the big cloud providers like Google to play nice with the likes of AWS and Azure. The money, after all, comes from charging fees for compute time and storage. Google argues that this is something that customers want, and it solves a real problem. Google, however, is chasing its competitors and looking for ways to differentiate themselves in its approach from them. I don't think we'll see AWS reacting with a similar tool, but I do see Microsoft coming down this path as well. The next big story to come out of Google Next was their open source integration to Google Cloud Console. Google has announced that it will deeply integrate the products of a number of open source companies into its cloud and essentially make them first-party services. These partners are Confluent, DataStack, Elastic, Influx Data, MongoDB, Neo4j, and Redis Labs, with others likely to follow. This is great news for many reasons. Particularly with customers, they'll get a single bill and access to support from those companies, all while managing the services from a single console. The subtext here, though, is a bit more complicated and reveals Google's approach to open source and puts it in contrast with AWS. As you may remember from our post in news for this month, we were commenting on the fact that AWS has been getting a bit of backlash around their support for open source. Many of these companies that are participating here are highly critical of AWS's treatment of open source and quite public about it. Google is working with them while the perception is that AWS simply uses the code and doesn't give back to the community. Google sees its artificial intelligence as one of its main differentiators in its fight against AWS, Azure, and others. The company already offers a wide range of AI tools, ranging from developer tools and services for advanced data scientists to AutoML, a service that can automatically train models and doesn't require a PhD. The new AI platform offers an end-to-end solution for more advanced developers that allows them to go from ingesting data training and testing their models, to putting them into production. The platform can also use pre-built models. AI and machine learning is the major focus for all the big cloud providers, but the developer experience leaves a lot of room for improvement. Having an end-to-end solution is obviously a major step forward here and opens up the promise of machine learning to a wider range of potential users. Next in news was Google Cloud Code. You may notice a bit of a pattern here with Kubernetes being integrated into a lot of the things for easier deployment, movement, and management around Google Cloud. Cloud Code is a set of plugins and extensions for popular IDEs like IntelliJ and Versus Code. The general idea here is to provide developers with all of the necessary tools to build cloud-native applications, all without having to deal with any of the plumbing work and configuration that comes with that. Using Cloud Code, developers can simply write their applications like before, but then package them as a cloud-native app and ship them to a Kubernetes cluster for testing or production. Writing cloud-native apps is complicated and usually involves writing complex configuration files. Cloud Code ideally makes all of this so easy that it'll be far easier for developers and the companies that employ them to make this move to a modern infrastructure like Kubernetes. So finally, in major news, Google Cloud is now aiming at retailers. The news here is that Google is launching a vertical solution that's squarely aimed at retailers. It doesn't sound like a big deal, especially since last month we were talking about the health industry and how they're specializing there. But it does open up the door to saying that Google is now starting to focus on putting together solutions for certain industries to make it easier for them, sort of writing blueprints for each industry. Now we're seeing retailers. Before last month we were hearing about health industry, and there'll be more to come. Google's CEO was talking to some reporters about this, and really they were saying that this is something that industries are asking for. Every industry is a little bit different, and they want to know how to use the cloud towards their industry, their needs, and not just have some blanket solution, which is probably what they were doing in the past. But now companies are starting to focus on their end users, I think, a lot more. So these sort of questions are coming up more and more with the more mature conversations just around technology in general. It doesn't really even need to be cloud, but obviously cloud with its software-based defined infrastructure is making that conversation a lot easier. So now let me try to rattle off as much news as I can with the other pieces that I thought were interesting. Not getting through the 80 or 120 plus, but I'll try to get through at least 20 for you here. So with Windows Workloads on GCP, for Microsoft Workloads, in addition to purchasing on-demand licenses from Google Cloud, you can now have the flexibility to bring your existing licenses to GCP. Velo Strata 4.2, which is Google's streaming migration tool, will soon give you the ability to specifically tag Microsoft workloads that require sole tenancy and to automatically apply existing licenses. Coming soon, you'll be able to use managed services for Microsoft Active Directory, a highly available, hardened Google Cloud service running actual Microsoft AD to manage your cloud-based AD-dependent workloads, automate AD server maintenance and security configuration, and extend your on-premise AD domain to the cloud. And this is a big area in the Microsoft space that Google has been missing. Google also expanded Cloud SQL, which is their fully managed relational database server, to support Microsoft SQL Server. And they'll be extending Anthos for hybrid deployments to Microsoft environments. They also announced 2 new regions in Seoul, South Korea, and Salt Lake City, Utah, to expand their global footprint and to support their growing customers around the world. In the serverless space, Cloud Run, their fully managed serverless execution environment, now offers serverless agility for containerized apps. Cloud Run on GKE brings the serverless developer experience and workload portability to your GKE cluster. Knative, the open API and runtime environment, brings a serverless developer experience and workload portability to your existing Kubernetes cluster anywhere. Google's also making new investments in their cloud functions and app engine platforms with new second-generation runtimes, a new open-source functions framework, and additional core capabilities, including connectivity to private GCP resources. In the storage space, a lot of news here. A new low-cost archive class for cloud storage will offer the same consistent API as other classes of cloud storage and millisecond latency to access your content. Cloud File Store, their managed file storage system, is now generally available for high-performance storage needs. Relational persistent disks will be generally available in the next week or so, providing active-active disk replication across 2 zones in the same region. Bucket policy only is now in beta for Google Cloud Storage, so you can enforce cloud IAM policies at the bucket level for consistent and uniform access control for your cloud storage buckets. V4 signatures are now available in beta for Google Cloud Storage to provide improved security and let you access multiple object stores using the same application code. In addition to HMAC keys, v4 signed requests are also supported for Google RSA keys. Cloud IAM roles are now available for transfer service, allowing security and IT administrators to use Cloud IAM permissions for creating, reading, updating, and deleting transfer jobs. Okay, we're on the home stretch now with news around networking. Traffic Director delivers configuration and traffic control intelligence to Sidecar service proxies, providing global resiliency for your services by allowing you to deploy application instances in multiple Google Cloud regions. High availability VPN, soon in beta, lets you connect your on-premises deployments to GCP Private Cloud VPC with an industry-leading SLA of 99.99% service availability at general availability. 100 gigabit cloud interconnect connections for hybrid and multi-cloud deployments. Private cloud access from on-premise to the cloud is now generally available, allowing you to securely use Google services like cloud storage and BigQuery, as well as third-party SaaS through Cloud Interconnect or VPN. And with network service tiers, Google Cloud customers can customize their network for performance or price on a per workload basis by selecting premium or standard tier. The feedback for the Google Next event that I heard on the online community was that there wasn't enough Google content and staff talking, and too many partners in the news, particularly for the keynotes, which are usually the highlight of these events. I think this comes about with, in previous years, a lot of the resistance or people holding back from going to GCP was the fact that they didn't have many brands and logos to brag about. And this year it was well on display. However, I think a lot of people were more excited at keynotes around hearing the big announcements and the big differences that are going to impact them when using GCP technology. So maybe this is a one-off and they'll focus more on the technology next year and have a bit more of a balanced keynote events there. Now, what did I miss in these announcements? Lots. In the security space, there are a lot of announcements. However, half of them were in beta. The same goes for the smart analytics space. Again, half of them were in beta. And then the AI and machine learning. I did touch on a few things there, but most of the announcements, although there were a lot, obviously that's a Google sweet spot, but a lot of them were in beta, most of them actually. Hopefully the wind hasn't been too bad. As I've sat here doing this, I can see a storm rolling in from the side. So hopefully this has been good quality on audio for your podcasts out there. For links to our videos and podcasts and blogs, go to www.publiccloud.ninja. For upcoming cloud-related events in Vancouver, there is the PUC event, the Public Cloud User Group, on Tuesday, June 4th in Vancouver, Canada. If you want to check out www.meetup.com/publiccloud and become a member there so you'll get notified once the details go live for that event. This episode was made possible by Scalar Decisions, a leading Canadian IT solution provider focused on security, infrastructure, and cloud. If you think we've missed anything, let us know in the comments section below. Our next episode will be in a month's time, so make sure you subscribe. Till then, keep challenging yourself.